Hi everybody. Today we are going to be talking about a very common type of verbal reasoning, which we can call reading for information. Okay, so what it's about today is you're going to get some texts, some very short texts that are quite wordy. We need to read through them and answer a question based on what we've read. Okay, and they can be a bit tricky, but the key here is reading very carefully. Now, what we're not going to focus on today, which sounds very contradictory because I always tell you to try to be quick, but what we're not going to focus too much on today is worrying about being the quickest person to answer, okay? Because what I'd like us to do instead is make sure that we fully understand how to answer this question type, sort of the best approaches, the best systems that we can use, rather than sort of sacrificing accuracy for speed, all right? What we can do is just worry about getting the question correct, and then as we get more and more comfortable with this question type, we can focus more on speed, okay? So don't worry too much today about pace. Okay, so what I'd like to do today, a little bit different, is I usually give you an example question. But I think what would be good today is if I just give you a question, see what you do with it, then we'll talk about it. But of course I'll go through it. So if you do find it too hard, don't worry because we'll talk about it, okay? So take a look at this question on the screen. I'll read the first one to you, but from now on, you're going to read them all by yourselves, okay? So I'll read the first one. It says, a staircase has 10 numbered steps, 1 at the bottom and 10 at the top. Step 3 creaks. The step 2 steps above step 3 also creaks. The step directly below step 10 does not creak, but the step below that one does creak. Step 1 creaks. Which numbered steps creak? So I'm going to talk for a little bit, guys. So don't worry about answering it right now because I don't want to sort of like get in the way of your thought process because I'm going to be talking and might disturb you. But what I'd like to point out really quickly is this question is deliberately annoying. Yeah, we've got the word step repeating itself over and over again. That's pretty deliberate, okay? It's all about how you sort of contextualize each word step and make sure you understand exactly what's being said. So what I'd like you to do is read carefully through this text and then figure out what you think the answer is and let me know in the chat box, okay? So let's see if we can do that in about, let's have a minute. That was very quick, Ava. And correct. Perfect, Jacob. Perfect, Emma. Perfect, Gersima. Perfect, Alexa. Perfect, Hannah. Give me the answer, guys. Don't send me the numbers if that's all right, because I get a bit confused. Just say whether it's A, B, C, or D. Perfect, Jordan. Perfect, Ragnar. Perfect, Rory. Perfect, Ira. All right, 10 seconds. Perfect, Skylar. All right. Let's talk about this question. So, let's go to the person at the top of the list. Who is it? It's Annabelle. Okay, Annabelle. Tell me, talk me through this. So, it's up to you how you approach this. I'm not going to direct you at all. Just tell me your thought process. What do you reckon?
I think it's A because it says a staircase has 10 numbered steps, 1 at the bottom and 10 at the top. Step 3 creaks. So we keep 3.
All right,
Step
perfect. Sorry, Annabelle. Before we go any further, step 3 creaks. So, can I get rid of any options at the moment?
you can get rid of D.
Perfect. All right, let's keep going.
And then it says step 2 steps above step 3. So if we add 2 add 3, it's 5. And we can't get rid of any option. So let's keep going.
Awesome. So at the moment, you've established that 3 and 5 both creak. Fantastic. Okay.
It says the step directly below step 10 does not creak. So 9 does not creak. So we can get rid of A.
Good.
And then it says step 1 creaks.
So it's either B or C. So what do we do now?
I don't really know.
So I'll tell you what we do, Annabelle. So go back to this line here. If you read that line again, see if you've missed anything.
Oh, it's B because it says, but the step below that one does creak.
So what step below? So what number step would
8.
that be? Good. All right.
We can get rid
Also,
of C and the answer is B.
perfect. Good. B. Well done. Okay. Very, very good. So we know that the answer is B. So guys, with a question like this is the best approach. Now, in an 11 plus exam, you have something which is very valuable. It's like gold dust, and we call that white space. Yeah, the white space I'm talking about is the working out space around the question. Okay, so you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to make markings on your question paper and do exactly what we did throughout this question. And it's essential that we do. I mean, it could be the case that maybe maybe a few of you looked at this question, did it all in your head. Okay, great. But these sorts of questions do get a bit more difficult where keeping the information in our head becomes a lot trickier. Okay, so it's always worth jotting some stuff down on the paper. All right, very good, Annabelle. Let's move on to the next one, guys. Ready for number 2? Give it a go. I think a couple of us might be being a bit too quick. Perfect, Ava, that's correct. Perfect, Scarlett. Perfect, Annabelle. Perfect, Harry. Perfect, Era. Perfect, Gasima. Perfect, Hannah. Perfect, Oki and Ari. Perfect, Jacob. All right, 10 seconds if you haven't answered. Remember, a couple of you were super, super quick with that question and it wasn't correct. So remember what we said at the start. Just focus on getting it correct today. Don't worry too much about speed. We can work on that when we get more comfortable with this question. That's it, Hermione. Good. All right, Scarlett, you're up next. What do you reckon, Scarlett? Talk me through it.
So the answer can be found by doing this. So if James isn't the shortest, James can't be last in the option, which then we can't rule out anything yet. But if Jane is shorter than James, then Jane must be after James. And C is the only option that has that. So the answer is C.
Jane. Although Jane is shorter than James here as well, and here, and here. Maybe not directly shorter, but so I feel you are correct. Your answer is correct, but I feel like we could check a bit more. Like, so what else could we check?
Wait.
What else could we sort of deduce?
Wait, if John is taller than James, so John should be somewhere after James. I mean, somewhere before James.
Cool. All right. So we can get rid of those two, right? So how do we decide between C and D?
So if so it's C because it says James. It says Jane is not shorter than Joanne.
Perfect. Very good. Now, guys, do you know how I like to answer a question like this? These are quite common, these sorts of questions, in verbal questions, right? So what I like to do is I like to, on a piece of paper, I would like draw an arrow, and I would do like tallest, so T for tallest, and S for shortest. And I would sort of like write names and sort of like rearrange them if I need to. So for example, the first bit of information says James isn't the shortest. So it doesn't give me much information, but all I know is he's not going to be at the bottom because he's not the shortest. So I'm going to put him about here. I can move him about. You'll see what I mean in a second, right? So James can go here. Okay, then it says Jane is shorter than James. So I know that Jane needs to go below James, okay? And then it says, but not shorter than Joanne. So Jane is taller than Joanne. So I'm going to put Jane here and Joanne underneath. And that automatically means that Joanne must be shorter than James as well, mustn't it? And then it says John is taller than James. We don't need any more information because the fact that John is taller than James and James is taller than the others means that John is the tallest. So that's what I would do. Like if this question becomes quite tough and quite wordy and we can't keep all the information in our heads, I'd write it down. Yeah, I'd write it down and I'd sort of deal with one bit of information at a time rather than overwhelming ourselves. All right, well done guys. Let's keep going. Give this one a go. Perfect era. Perfect, perfect Rory. Ooh, okay. Quite a few incorrect answers, which is absolutely fine. We're practicing, yeah? Perfect Okianari. Please don't spam your answers, guys. Please don't spam them. Just send it once. I promise you, we'll go through. If I've not said well done, it's probably not correct. Perfect Alexa. Okay, so perfect Kiva, that's correct. With a question like this, perfect Jacob. The reason I told you that not many people are correct so far is because I want you to know that it's tricky. That you're not the only one that's finding it tough. It's a tricky question. Other people are getting it wrong as well. We're practicing, okay? And by the time we've done quite a few of these, you'll see different ways, different methods of approaching these questions. And I've got a method for this question. So I won't ask someone to help me with this question, if that's all right, because quite a few have got it wrong. I'll do this one all by myself, and because I'd like to show you what method I would do, okay, that I would use. Perfect, Ava. All right, let's have 10 more seconds and then I'll go through it. Okay, let's go through it. So I'll read the question first. It says, 6 days ago, the month was January. In 4 weeks' time, the month will be March. The 13th of February is on a Friday, and the day today is a Wednesday. What is today's date? Now we have quantifiable information here. What that means is we can do some counting. We can sort of work things out, can't we? And the reason that it's good to acknowledge that is because what we could do is actually check each day and see if it fits, right? So with some of these sorts of verbal problems, we can consider each answer rather than sort of trying to find the answer directly from the text. We look at the answer, then go to the text. That might be a better approach, right? So I need to think to myself, well, could it be 5th of February? Let me look at all the clues. So if it was the 5th of February, 6 days ago, would the month be January? And it would, because it's only the 5th day of February. So if we subtract 6 days, we're going to be in January, okay? So it could be, sorry guys, let me just try and get rid of this. It could be A, right? What about B? Could it be B based on that clue? Yep, because 4th of February, take away 6 days, we're going to find ourselves in January. What about the 27th of January? Well, if we take 6 days away from the 27th, we're at the 21st, so we're still in January. And what about D? If we take 6 days away from 20th of January, it's the 14th of January. So therefore we know that all 4 options are still valid, okay? So no problem, let's keep going. All right, in 4 weeks' time, the month will be March. Now we need to know what 4 weeks means, as we need to be able to quantify that word, that term, 4 weeks. What is it in numbers, okay? So 4 weeks equals 28 days. It's important we know that, isn't it, for this question? Because 1 week is 7 days, so 7 times 4, 28 days. So in 28 days' time, the month will be March. So now what I'm going to do is add 28 days to our answers to see if we end up in March. So if we add 28 to the 5th of February, we're going to end up in March, okay? February has 28 days. I know it also, there are leap years, but even if it was a leap year, we would still end up in March if we add 28 to 5, yeah? So it can't be that one. Let me just say that again because I don't think I said that very clearly. If we add 23 days to the 5th of February, that takes us to the 28th, doesn't it? Which is the final day in February for most years, okay? So adding 28 days means we'll definitely be in March. So it could be this one. The same logic can be used for the 4th of February. If I add 28 days to the 4th of February, I'm going to end up in March. Once again, if I add 24 days, I'm at the 28th of February. So if I add one more day, I'm in March, okay? And again, even if there were 29 days in February, we'd still end up in March, okay? So it could be that one. Now, if I add 28 days to the 27th of January, well, I need to add 4 days to get to the 31st of January. If I add an extra 24 days, that takes me to the 24th of February, not March. So it cannot be that one. And we know it can't be D because it can't be C. And D is earlier. D is the 20th of January, okay? So now I've eliminated another 2 options, okay? So I've got just 2 options left, A and B. Now this bit is key. This is the bit that I think through a few of you because those that got it wrong, most of you that got it wrong said that the answer was A rather than the correct answer, which is B, right? Let me show you why. It says the 13th of February is on a Friday. Okay, this is important. The reason that's important is because we know there are 7 days in a week, which means if we take away 7 from 13, we're going to be at another Friday. It'll be the 6th. So the 6th of February is a Friday. That means the 5th of February is a Thursday and the 4th of February is a Wednesday. And we know that the day today is a Wednesday, quite literally too. Okay, so it can't be that one. The answer is B. By the way, if you're watching this recorded and it's not a Wednesday, the reason I said quite literally is because those that are doing the lesson right now are doing it on a Wednesday. All right, well done guys, well done if you said that. But if you didn't say it, do not worry. Hopefully the explanation made sense. Let's take a look at another one. Remember guys, don't worry too much about being the quickest here. Just try your best to get it correct. Give that one a go. Perfect. Ava. Perfect. Scarlett. Perfect. Jacob. Perfect. Rory. Perfect. Jordan. Perfect. Emma. Perfect. Harry. All right, 10 seconds, guys. Perfect. Oki and Ari. Perfect. Kiva. Perfect. Ragnar. Right, we're going to go through this one. Okay, so based on your responses, again, I mean, a few of us found it tricky, and it's okay. It's okay. But what I'd recommend is if you didn't get the answer correct, I'll tell you what the answer is first, because I want you to, if you didn't get it correct, I want you to really focus on the explanation, all right? So I'll tell you what the answer is first, and if that's not what you put, please make sure you watch really carefully for the explanation, okay? So the answer is D. Now let me explain why, guys, okay? So it says friends Mia, Hannah, Alex and Kai spend money in an arcade. Alex spends £10. All right, let's stop there. Alex spends £10, right? So what I'm going to do on this side of the screen is I'm going to write A equals 10. I know I'm talking about pounds, and I know that A stands for Alex, okay? The reason I'm not writing Alex is because all of the other names begin with different letters, so I'm not going to get mixed up, am I? Okay? So Alex spends £10, which is half the amount that Hannah spent. So Alex spent half the money that Hannah spent, or Hannah spent double the amount that Alex spent. So what must Hannah have spent? If Hannah spent double Alex, she must have spent £20. Let's keep reading. Mia, so M, spent £3 more than Hannah. Okay, well, Hannah spent £20. So if Mia spent £3 more than Hannah, what's 3 more than 20? It'd be 23. So Mia spent £3 more than Hannah and £7 less than Kai. So if Mia spent £23, which is £7 less than Kai, Kai must have spent £7 more than Mia, so £30. So I've worked out all the information. I've gone through the text very carefully, and as I went through each bit of information, I wrote it down, okay? And then the question says, how much money did the 4 friends spend all together? Well, all we need to do now is add together how much they spent, okay? And with these numbers, they're not too tricky to add in our heads. If we need to use any sort of methods or a column method or any sort of written method to solve this, you can. But I'm going to do it mentally. So 10 plus 20, that gives me 30. And then 30 plus 23 gives me 53. And then 53 plus 30 gives me 83. So the total amount spent was £83. Now, if you did get that wrong, do not worry. But hopefully, as I went through the explanation, you kind of managed to work out where it is you did go wrong. Okay? All right, well done, guys. You're doing amazingly. Let's do another one. Give that one a go. 'Cause, 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 Okay, let's have a look at your answers. Perfect, Ava. Perfect, Annabelle. Perfect, Rory. Perfect, Scarlett. Perfect, Hayden. Okay, 15 seconds. All right, shall we go through it? Okay, so yeah, this is proving pretty challenging. This one, yeah, perfect, Hannah, very good. All right, let's go through it because yeah, it's a bit challenging. Well done, Kiva. Okay, let's go to. I want to make sure I pick someone that put the right answer. So 2 seconds. I need to pick someone who's definitely put the right answer. Otherwise, it's not fair on you, is it? That I put you on the spot like that. Give me a second, guys. Just trying to find someone that's got it right. That's got their hands up as well. Ava, could you talk me through this one?
Okay. So it says some of the clocks in the West Tower chime at midnight, and those that do not chime buzz. And then it says it says a buzzing clock can only be heard from the North Tower. So that must be wrong because it can buzz from the West Tower.
Perfect.
And then it says in the North Tower at midnight, all of the clocks buzz and none of the clocks chime. Wait. And it says buzzing and right now, and then it says in the East Tower, all of the clocks either chime or make no sound at all. And it says a chiming. It says buzzing and chiming only exist in the West Tower, but it says it exists in the North Tower.
Awesome.
And then it says in the East Tower, all the clocks either chime or make no sound at all. So
Good.
it says they can chime. So it must be none of the statements above are true.
Perfect. Yeah, well explained, Ava, and you did exactly what I would do. So what we need to do, guys, with a question like that, it's very important, is what Ava just demonstrated, which is let's deal with the information as we get it, right? So we'll read a sentence and think, right, does this sentence apply to option A? Does it apply to option B? And work things out this way, okay? Because what tends to happen is what some students do is they read all the text, which is fine, right? Read all the text. And then when you look at these options, you've got so many words flying about in your head. You've got buzzing and chiming and clocks and towers, all repeat, like if in your head over and over again, and you're you might get things mixed up. Okay, so it's very important with a question like this that we deal with information as soon as we get it. So we read a statement. Does that mean we can rule out option A? Good. Let's rule out option A and continue. Okay, it's really important that we kind of take apart the question rather than looking at it as a whole, if you like. All right. Now, I kind of feel some guilt when I say quite a few of you got it wrong, but I don't want you to. Okay. The reason I tell you that is because I want you to know that you are not alone. Many people got that wrong. Okay. The reason I'm telling you that is because I want you to know that it's something that we need to practice. Okay. And that we don't have to be able to answer every single question perfectly the first time we see it. Okay, so that was a tough question. Don't worry if it went wrong. The most important thing is that when you listen to the explanation, it made sense to you. Okay, all right. We've got one more, guys. You're doing very, very well. We've got one more question. Give this a go. Absolutely, Gesima. Hadea is famous. Perfect era. Perfect Rory. Rory smashed it today. Perfect Harry. Brilliant. Ava, you smashed it today. Very good. Amazing, Annabelle. That's correct. A couple of you, I won't say any names, but a couple of you are sending, are sending answers really quickly that aren't correct, and then I feel like you're guessing. It's really important that we don't guess, guys. It's really these sorts of tests, these sorts of assessments are not designed for guessing. Guessing is very much a last resort. We only ever guess answers if we've got like a second left to answer a question and we've got no time to read it. But there's no time pressure on you at the moment, guys. So try not to guess. Okay, try your best to work it out because every question can be worked out, albeit with a bit of effort. Perfect, Ragnar, that's correct. Perfect, Oki and Ari. Perfect, Jacob. Perfect, Scarlett. Perfect, Alexa. Yeah, guys, this is much more like it. Very good. Perfect, Hannah. All right. Shall we go through it? Perfect, Kiva. Very good. All right. Let me see who's... Let's go for... Emma, do you want to talk through this one? Do you want me to ask someone else, Emma? I'll ask. Okay, let's go to Jacob.
Okay, so Hard Dyer is creating a mythical creature for Arch product. This creature has more eyes than legs, so you have to look for the eyes and legs. Let's look at A. 20 teeth, 10 eyes, 8 spots, and 6 legs. So it can't be A because it has more eyes. No, it could be A. It could
Good,
be A.
right.
It could be D because there's 12 eyes and 8 legs. It could be C because there's 8 eyes and 6 legs. And it could be D. So you have to look at everything else.
Perfect.
More legs than spots. So let's look at A. It has 6 legs and 8 spots. And we're looking for more legs than spots. So it can't be A. B, let's see. So legs. 8 legs and 6 spots. So it could be B. C. It has 6 legs and 5 spots. So it could be C. And finally D. 4 legs and 8 spots. So it can't be D because there's more spots than that. Next, we're looking at more teeth than eyes. So 20 teeth and 10 eyes. So yeah, but A's already eliminated. So we do B and C. 20 teeth. You have 12 eyes. So it could be B. C has 8 teeth, 8 eyes. So it can't be C because it has the same number of eyes and it has more teeth than eyes. So it can't be B. So it has to be B. We don't even have to look at a pair of wings.
Amazing. Very, very good. Fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah, well explained. So, let's really quickly talk about that final question and we'll summarize today's lesson as a whole and then we'll finish, right? So the first thing I want to say is those of you that explained today, brilliant, very good. Now, if you remember how Annabelle, Scarlett, Jacob and Ava explained, right? That's what needs to be going on in our heads. So although it seems time consuming because we're crossing things out and we're comparing things, when we do that in our heads, it doesn't take as long as it does when we write stuff down on the screen, okay? So although it might seem a lengthy process, the more we do it, the more familiar we become with this sort of question, the easier it becomes, okay? The only thing we really need to write down on paper is eliminating options, okay? Or you might want to do it when ordering answers. So remember when we had the question when we needed to figure out who was tallest and who was shortest, then it might be a good idea to sort of write things in order like I did earlier. But most of the stuff that we looked at today can be done mentally and by elimination. Okay, so reading the question, does it apply to option A? If not, cross it out. Does it apply to option B? If it does, keep it. Okay, and that's the way that we need to approach these questions. And when we get these questions, what you'll find quite often is words repeat themselves. This is very deliberate, okay, because it's all about how you sort of hold that information in your head. How do you organize that information? But that was particularly notable in the final question, in the penultimate question, when we had the repetitive tower, we had the word clock, we had the word buzz, we had the word chime over and over again. So try to break past that. That's what makes this question tough, okay? Once we learn how to organize information and to eliminate options, they become so much easier.